So I've built and scaled a marketing agency to $100,000 a month, and I've sold it. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you exactly what I would do. The first thing I would do if I was starting a new agency, what action would I take? You will not expect this answer. It's so unconventional and weird and contradictory that you probably won't be able to predict what I'm going to say. But I want to explain exactly what I do and why I do it, and the first strategic move I'd make to make my business successful. So I hope you're going to enjoy this video. So my name's Charlie. As I mentioned, I built and scaled a marketing agency to 7 figures. It's called Northflow Consulting. I actually sold it recently. I now run a company called Imperium Agency, which is a coaching company that helps people systemize client acquisition and make client acquisition easy. The purpose of this YouTube channel is basically to help people make client acquisition easy because most people find it hard. So if I was restarting a marketing agency and going from 0 to 10K a month or 0 to 100K a month, the first thing I would do, and it's not normal for anyone to say this, the first thing I would do is get a part-time job, right? And that might sound weird, but let me explain. So let's say you can get a part-time job and you can make, I don't know, let's just say $12 an hour. And let's say for the sake of argument that you work 2 shifts a week for 5 hours. So you only work 10 hours a week, right? Well, that's $120 a week. Here's what I would do. I would then take that $120 that I make a week and invest that into virtual assistants that can run cold email systems for me to iterate and test random variables so I can get as close to resonance as I can with cold email. So let me explain. So here's you, right? This is where you are right now with your business and your client acquisition processes and how well you can acquire clients. And here's where you want to be. So right now you might have no clients, you're just starting. And then up here, you might want to have 10 clients and you might want to be able to book like a meeting a day or more than a meeting a day. You want a client acquisition system. But here's where you are now, you haven't got any clients. Here's where you want to be, right? Now in the future, 10 clients. The gap between here and here, right? Imagine there's an arrow drawn between these two things, is basically just iteration, right? If you look at how nature works, nature iterates its way to success in all species. And so if you want to produce success in a marketing agency, you have to learn how to acquire clients, and you can only really do that by testing lots of different things, right? So like lots of different email copies, lots of different subject lines, lots of different cold call scripts. So what I would do, back to my point of getting a part-time job, is I would go and hire virtual assistants. So I'd work for $12 an hour. And if I earn $12 an hour, then that can buy me 4 people to iterate and test variables for me. This is a really important, it's basic logical math, right? So myself, I have a limited amount of time and energy in my day to test and iterate and improve cold email copy and cold calling. So if I'm starting a marketing agency, the first thing you should try and do is acquire clients and book appointments, right? But at the beginning, you've got no idea how to do that, so you're blind. But there's a quote that says biology itself can lead to sight even if you are blind. And what that means is through the scientific process, you can actually discover the things that work. And so what I would do is I would be like shot in the dark, just producing random pieces of copy, random stimulus or stimuli that I can put in front of prospects in different ways. So like I'd be like, okay, I want to try these 3 random cold messages, and I want to try these 5 pieces of email copy. I want to try these 4 these 4 cold calling scripts. I think they might work, but I'm not sure. But surely if I try 10 different things across 3 different platforms, one of them might show signs of life. One of them might show proof of concept, right? One of the most mistakes people make is I get messages from people a lot saying, hey, Charlie, can you review my email copy? And they send me 1 piece of copy. It's like, if you imagine that there's a species that has like, every species, like every organism in one species is identical, has identical traits. If one bacteria comes along that can wipe out one organism in the species, then the whole thing will be wiped out. So if you want your business to go extinct, you should just rely on 1 piece of bloody email copy or 1 stimulus, right, to generate results. So don't do that. Instead, just randomly just be like, all right, I want to work with gyms and I'm going to try, I've got no idea what works, but surely if I test 10 things, 1 might stick somewhat, probably not, but at least maybe like a tiny bit. But there's no way that you can test 10 things at once because there's only so many time and hours in the day that you've got and so much energy you've got to do things. So I would still be testing myself, different variables. But then what I'd be doing is I'd be working 10 hours a week for $12 an hour, and then I'd hire 4 virtual assistants for $3 an hour each to each test their own variables that I give them. And so what this means is I'm spending 10 hours not working on my business, but I'm actually buying 4 hours to work on my business. So for every hour that I spend in the part-time job, I essentially buy 4 hours for other humans to test things for me. And so this is asymmetric financial leverage, and it's basic logical math, right? If you work for $12 an hour, you can pay 4 virtual assistants $3 an hour to do mundane tasks for you, like sending emails or making cold calls, and tracking the metrics of those individual efforts so that you can start to find what works. And over time, if you did that for like 3 or 4 months, you basically quadrupled your manpower, time and energy and ability to test things, which means you can test 4 times the amount of variables, which means you're 4 times more likely to find something that works, or you're going to find something that works 4 times as fast. Okay? So everyone thinks that getting a part-time job is some sort of regression, but you have to understand there's you here and there's here where you want to be, right? Client acquisition wise, no clients, 10 clients, no clients, 100 clients, no meetings, a meeting a day, no meetings, 100 meetings a day, right? The only thing that stands in the way between this point and this point is iteration and how many tests you run for random things that you've introduced, random variations of copy, script, subject lines, random organic things that you put together. So just have more people. Labor is leverage. Capital is leverage. So if you have capital to buy labor, you have strong amounts of leverage. You take $120 a week and you put it into virtual assistants, you can test way more stuff and get way closer to the truth and success. So that's what I would do. If anything, I'd probably work more than that. I'd probably have like a part-time job for like, 2 whole days a week. And then I'd have like a whole army of virtual assistants. And I'd be like, all right, guys, I want you all to try this cold call script. Or like, I want you doing this cold call script. I want you doing this cold call script. And it will never be a fair, reasonable test, because if you're testing things like cold call scripts, then obviously the delivery of the script is another influential variable that will have an impact on the outcome. But at least it's better than not testing anything at all, if that makes sense. So just consider it. You don't have to go and get a part-time job, but it's one thing. I personally wouldn't do that, because if I was starting from scratch with no money to my name, then it's what I'd do. But obviously, if I'm in the position where I've built a couple of businesses, I've got cash positions, I wouldn't go and work, because I would not do that at all, because I don't need to. But if you are in a position where you haven't got anything at all, there's nothing wrong with taking time and getting a part-time job. It's also like, when you're starting an agency, like, don't be afraid at the idea of it taking a while. Don't be in a rush and a hurry and impatient to dig yourself out of the rut you're in, because all it's going to do is make you emotional and chaotic. All right? So if you are struggling with client acquisition, and if you find it hard to acquire clients, we can make it easy for you. So if you want me to do that, just click the first link in the description. Basically, it's a video of me explaining how we make client acquisition easy. We're very fucking good at it. We've done it for like 300 people, so it's pretty cool. If you don't want to do it, I don't really care, it's fine. But you can also subscribe, comment, and like the video. If you don't want to click the link, at least subscribe, because then that's one step towards you becoming better at client acquisition. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and comment any video ideas you have. See you in the next one. Take care. Peace.